Welcome to Blended Healing.
You can't hurt me with my business. Because my business is my business. If somebody hears something about me, I always say, ask me. I'll tell you the real deal. I'll tell you what it really is. I hold nothing back. I have nothing to hide. I don't walk in shame. My story and my truth, I live in it. I stand in it. I breathe in it. I am it. So there's nothing I can't tell people. There's nothing attached to me or my story that you or anybody else could use to destroy me, because the favor in my life is like a barricade. It prevents any penetration of the enemy whatsoever. The only way the enemy has access to my life is when I invite him in. So anything that anybody says about me, if I tell my business and they tell 5 other people, great. Keep me relevant. Keep me in the atmosphere, because God hears it all. And he works on my behalf and in my favor at all times, knowing and unknowingly. So all of this, when you're at a table with people, don't say anything about it. I'm going to say what I want to say when I want to say it. And I'm going to let you know who I really am if you're wondering. I am an open book, so to speak. I just don't invite a lot of people into my personal existence. But telling my business, that's my testimony. I can tell it from the rooftops if I please. Because look at me now. It's not about your then, it's about your now. That prepares you, and actually it makes you look better, because you should be stark raving mad. Because of what you endured, you should be absolutely out of your mind, but you're lucid. And you're together, and you have emotional intelligence, and you're kind, and you're caring, and you're loving, and you're funny. And you're all of the things opposite to what you should be. So your story just benefits you. You can't use my testimony against me. That's the lie from the pit of hell from the enemy. To keep you quiet. Because people would, and look at you like, what? You went through what? You been through what? You survived what? Yeah. Because it's about my here and now. It's about where God brought me from. Not where I came from and where I started, but where I was brought from. Where I was elevated from. It's the process and the journey that matters. So talking my business, you don't know what is going on now. You just knew what was going on when, who I dated, who I was with, who you saw me out with who, which doesn't matter at all. It has no relevance to my current life whatsoever. That was then, and this is completely now. So never be afraid to tell your story, to tell your testimony. Oh, I'm biting my fingernails because I'm nervous. For what? It sheds a light on your process. It sheds a light on your elevation, your butterfly experience. How you were in that cocoon and you came out just beautiful and unscathed. They can't use that against you. If anything, God's going to use it to better you. He's going to allow people to talk about you to increase you and elevate you even the further. Never be terrified or scared to tell your story or let people know your business of what was. They can't do a thing about it. They can't change you. They can't change your story, your journey. They can't change the road you traveled on. They can't change the process. And they can't change the blessings, the favor, and what God has for you and your purpose. The only
Don't write my story if I'm standing right here. There's a song called Everything Must Change, and though it has a romantic vibe to it, it can be applied to life. You see, time is always moving forward, and it stops for no one. Maybe there is a lesson to be learned from good old Father Time. Granted, there is a time to be still, just for a moment. And by nature, we need to move. And truth be told, it's in our best interest to move forward. It seems like standing still too long forces us to work against ourselves, regardless of how it happens. When there is stiffness in our body, when we're in a stagnant state in our daily life or our spiritual space, we might need to question if we're moving. There may be a price to be paid for standing still too long. Welcome to Blended Healing. 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use, for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. There is comfort that can be found in getting into a rhythm. I'm not talking about the rhythm of music. I'm talking about the routine that becomes so ingratiated in our habits that it becomes like a stone grinding away at us. We can see things that are going left in our lives and we question everything but the routine that is causing the madness. It's easier to leave comfort alone because change requires work, and work is change. Moving requires work, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. And if we take a moment to reflect, honestly, over the time standing still, we may find that it's time to move immediately. Don't write my story. I'm standing right here. They tell us that if we don't move our body, we're going to lose it. What about the idea that you must use it or lose it has some truth to it? When we don't move our bodies, there's a stiffness that sets into our bones. And this can cause us unhealthy things happening to us. If we struggle to make things happen in our life, it's understood that things may have consequences of sitting too still. In some cases, it's not easily recognizable in other areas of our life. And it's so much easier to negate and to avoid those things. Sometimes we just simply need somebody to cheer us on, to literally pull us up and out. Being still is being idle. Some of us are standing still spiritually, and one can talk about or argue to that leads to standing still mentally. Don't tell my story because you don't know. You don't know what seems to be breaking loose in my life. Things that need to be done, decisions that need to be made, new endeavors that I need to partake in. But sometimes we just aren't moving at all. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like you needed to pray and meditate, but instead you just sat there? Have you looked around and saw things that needed to be done and you thought about it, but you just sat there? Have you ever made a plan or mapped out everything that needed to be done, but instead you just played it over in your mind like you were doing it, but you just sat there? Are you in a relationship that isn't healthy and you have the power to walk away, but you haven't moved? Did you know it was time to start looking for avenues to advance in your career or grow your business, but you just stood there? We can all sit down and brainstorm about all the things that we want to do. But if we are still standing still instead of moving, how's it going to be done? It's not my place to tell you and to tell your story from a state of standing still to moving easy. But once you're in motion and it becomes what you do, yes, it gets easier. The initial steps can be difficult, and there could be some fear involved, and no one is telling you to go from still to sprinting or running down the block. Take your time and start somewhere, one step at a time, because they don't know your story. They don't know that walking and finding your pace may be difficult, but by the divine God moving in you, we can regain our life back by putting in a positive forward motion. Taking the steps can be a difference between living your life that you deserve or merely just existing. The choice is yours. But don't you ever tell my story, because we are all actors in this drama of life, playing all different types of roles. Every scene demands us to write and to enact our own script. But we don't spend time with our scripts. Instead, some of us are busy mentally writing out other people's scripts on what they should do, what they should say, how they should behave, or even how they need to respond. Don't tell my story. I'm standing right here. We get entangled in other people's roles and forget about our own. People need to write their own script. They can't enact us as per their expectations. This is my question to those who do that. Do you find yourself evaluating other people, mentally writing a script on how they should be and what they should do? Have you even understood that people ain't gonna follow your script because it's not your story, it's theirs? What about you writing other people's scripts and it affects your own growth and your own development? Since your time and energy gets depleted by focusing on theirs or our story. We are all actors in this world drama, playing several roles in our life. We are the actor, the director, and also the script writer in each of our scenes. But while playing our role with our fellow actors, they start focusing on our performance and writing our script mentally and expect us to follow it, but other people cannot follow their own script. The focus needs to be on their performance, not yours. And whatever may be the role, looking back at us, our personality of peace, of love, of wisdom should reflect in every role that we play. When we get there, even if the other actors don't perform right, don't worry about them. Worry about your performance that shows you the path to the correct yourself. Beloveds, please be aware of perfecting your own story. Don't worry about them other people. Do every scene in your life when you are up to it very well. And when you get there, after you get past the crossroads on your journey, you're going to find it being more easy for you, more relaxed and more empowering than your co-actors, your co-workers. Remind yourself that you can bring out your personality of peace and compassion in every role that is not influenced by the performances or the expectations of your co-actors. Stick to your own script, but at least take one step forward to move. Don't stand still too long, okay? All right.
Most of us fail because when we learn about the price of success, we run the other way. Don't run. Believe in yourself. When they show you who they are, believe them. Don't give a pass. Don't give the benefit of the doubt. Believe them. No one is required to believe your dreams except for you. That's why the dream was given to you. Hold on to them, protect them, and most importantly, pursue them. Believe in yourself. Opportunities are often missed because they are dressed in overalls and look like work. With great success comes great work. There is not one without the other. Roll up those sleeves and get to it. Believe in yourself. The biggest key to success is to start. If you never start, you will never finish. Most people never attain their goals because they fail to try. Don't let that be you. Believe in yourself.
I'm gonna see you love, so if it comes, I'm gonna go to love. I'm headed to the stone, I do know my name. I'm still home, trying to get out again. They say, whatever do, they can make you stronger. You'll never be the world's strongest one. Whole lot of pride, everything you say, and I'm already doing good right. Everything's the best, everything you can do, I've been here to do. See you now, when I see you now. You can take your legs, but my head won't hit the floor. Without you, I'm standing, 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 I'm just standing, 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 standing. Niggas me. I ask God why this happening to me, but I didn't fall. I held my own, and now I'm back in love. I'm alone. This is my life. They say, but it's my plan. Don't like like I can't get. I'm trying to think of how it's supposed to be. Say that you want to say, 'cause I know everything you don't know.